Welcome back, disc golf fans, to the LWS Open at Idlewild, presented by Dynamic Discs and the Natty. A Disc Golf Pro Tour Elite Series event, the last of the year before we get to the playoffs. Always an exciting time out here at Idlewild Park. I'm Nathan Queen, again joined by Andrew Fish.
And this Saturday was a little bit of a weird day. Some weather rolled in the morning, which ended up delaying the FPO rounds and then pushing this MPO chase card back by about 2.5 hours. Jeremy Koling, Calvin Heimburg, Nath Hecker, Matty O welcoming a couple newcomers to this card, and Calvin Heimburg and Matt Orum making their second appearance.
Yeah, and Aaron Gossage, Gavin Babcock, Evan Scott out to a one-stroke lead over the field to head into this round. But as we've seen a lot on the tour this year, very tight. Getting into Jeremy Koling's bag, putting with that KC Pro Galactic Firefly. Going to see some Mortar and Gator upshots out here in the Open. Going to see Eagle, lots of Thunderbird, some Firebird, and Halo Boss.
Calvin Heimburg going to putt with the KC Pro AVR, throws some Rhinos AVR X3s for his upshots, a couple of rocks in the bag, and then Eagles and Destroyers going to get the work on the open shots.
Nath Hecker, new to Gatekeeper coverage, putting with the Challenger. Going to see some buzzes and zones for upshots. Going to lean on the Captain's Raptor, Onyx, and some of those forces out there for the long shots.
And Matty O once again keeping it simple. Classic judge for his putter, throwing the Warden, Harp, and Pine. And then his drivers, Ati, Flow, and River for the fairways. Hole 1, 638 feet, a par 4 downhill. Today going to play with mostly a tailwind, a little bit of left to right cross. There's OB down the left side at the top of the hill, and then OB on the right side, a little bit past the tree line. Basket perched here, plays pretty fast behind, so get yourself just up to the short side.
Jeremy Koling.
Yeah, like you said, tailwind left to right. It didn't feel much left to right, but the shots that I saw off of the tee, if a right-handed backhand got turned over, it really got pushed that way. I think a little more left to right than it feels like.
And
kind of like that one.
Yeah, exactly. That looked like a reasonably controlled shot, but it pulls into that tree line on the right. Still well safe.
Yeah, great distance.
Next to the tee from Safety Harbor, Florida, Calvin Heimburg.
I saw Calvin in round one kind of stall a shot and get fortunate to catch the trees on the left and drop to safe. We'll see what kind of adjustment he makes today. And I really like this. Getting pulled, and I think it'll have the stability late to catch up, yeah?
Oh, no. It looks like it's going to go long. He's going to be out of bounds on the right side. That OB comes in closer the later you get down the fairway.
From Bell Fountain, Ohio, Nath Hecker.
Nath Hecker, young guy, relatively close to here.
Got a baby on the card.
Yeah, relative tour veterans otherwise. Nate's got a lot of power, likes to lean on this backhand. This is up and drifting, and there's the late push.
Yeah, catching that left to right wind late. Not getting too aggressive using fairway there, going to be in a great spot.
Rounding out our 555 card from Creola, Alabama, Matthew Orum.
Going to take his time here. Usually a pretty quick player.
Definitely more wind here on the first tee, and it was quite a bit swirly and gusty, so taking his time, and it pays off well. He's going to have, I doubt, a putt that he would want to run, but he is pretty close to Circle T's edge right there.
Yeah, it's an automatic 3 if he wants it, and a chance to get aggressive for the 2. Nate gonna go backhand, putter turnover.
And this is a pretty technical shot, although it's short and executed very nicely, using a stable enough putter to not catch too much glide and just carry away from that pin.
Yeah, you see the good touch out of Nath Hecker. Germ, as always, going to go to the forehand approach. Maybe not always, but most commonly. And here's Calvin putting his third.
Yeah, pin high, but probably 70 feet, maybe a little bit more. After going OB, and he's going to can it. Calvin cares not for the OB stroke. He is going to card his birdie anyway.
Man, what a crazy result. That basket is so high from the right side of the fairway.
Yeah, probably the equivalent of 90-foot putt or so right there. And what a way to start your round. Calvin Heimburg just doing his thing.
And Matt Orum content to take the bullseye and easy three. Sets our entire card up for that.
And as you should, 64% of the field carding the birdie today. Second easiest hole on the course, averaging a 3.4. 3 eagles yesterday, none today with that extra wind. Moves us into hole 2, much more difficult par 4, 601 feet. Ideally slide just to the left or right of that tree we passed to land in this area. Inside 300 feet to the pin from there. But as you see right here, very sketchy downslope towards the water once you get there. Really have to control your second shot. And if you're not in a good position, it's not worth going for it most of the time.
Lucky, please.
Big Germ, at present the luckiest player on the planet.
Wow. A lot of air.
Yeah, taking that Mando Monday route.
I think if you're going forehand, you'd like to go left and low of the center tree. Let the speed of the disc carry you up the hill.
Yeah, right of the tree is fine, but it's going to be harder to get that skip, and it also brings in that tree Calvin hit if you try to go right of it.
Nate also playing pretty high hyzer through.
Yeah, I like the line that he was on. Ideally, you'd like it not to be that high. It worked out for him this time. Going to be in a great position now. Better height here for Matty O. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what you're envisioning. Get yourself midway up the hill. So Calvin, is he going to try to test this?
Looks like it.
Full swing destroyer.
Yeah, and not good is right. He's going to still be throwing from this side. Has to put it pretty close to get up and down for a bogey.
Very, very critical to get yourself across the pond in 2 because of how delicate the upshot is.
Yeah, and that was a pretty common result there for Matty O, just leaving it a tiny bit short. Very difficult to gauge exactly where this hill starts to crest when you're back there on the other side.
Koling came up probably shallow circle 2. Nath Hecker going straight at the basket.
Oh my, that is a brave shot right there, and it's going to pay off for him. He looks to be inside circle 1.
Calvin takes a little bit of relief off of his OB stroke to get a better angle and footing. But that also comes up short. He's going to have a circle 2 look to save 5.
And goes from 80, 90-foot putt on 1 for birdie after an OB stroke to OB causing a double bogey here. Gonna need to get back on track. We see him do pretty often, so not too much worry for him just yet. Pretty nervous putt there from Nate. Tough one to really commit to. If you hit metal like he did, it's likely to go OB, but he does stay in.
Matteo, no such tentativity. Appears that I think we missed one of Germ's shots. Either a missed putt or an errant layup, so this will be coming back for 4. And maybe a touch left, but that sure seemed like it got a lot of chains.
Yeah, looked like it might have gone through him, honestly. I think it was a little high left, like you said, but that was dirty.
Nath Hecker gonna clean up for his 4.
And 27% of the field birdie, 16% bogey or above. We had double bogey and bogey on the card here today.
Yeah, unfortunately the small straight. Hole 3, 656 feet, a par 4. There's a mandatory far to the right, and the hole just keeps going to the right. Roller plays, backhand plays, forehand plays. Just get yourself into a reasonable position to throw probably a forehand into this green over top of those tall grasses.
And Matteo hitting that gap 2 days in a row now. Going to go in between those 2 trees. Comes up a little shorter than you'd like. Might be on a bit of an upslope, but not nearly as severe as he was yesterday.
Hecker going for a little more inside gap. You kind of can't go too far right. The mandatory is just so far over there. You may have some low ceiling to deal with, but it's another playable forehand.
Yeah, pretty difficult to miss that Mando, but the farther right you are, like you said, that low ceiling does come into play, makes that upshot a bit harder. This looks like a fantastic drive from Germ, giving himself some flat footing, doesn't have that low ceiling to worry about.
I think you see the difference in Germ's disc snapping up to flat briefly. Hecker's was on hyzer the whole time. Calvin going to make it 4 for 4 for the card on forehands, but his early struggles continuing as he tags one of the middle trees.
Yeah, still has an opportunity here for a low line drive shot. Able to get through those branches. And not much of a look there. Possible to give it a run, though, with the backstop he has.
Orum back to the forehand. Wind playing a little bit of havoc with the shot.
Very strong right to left for this second shot. So that counterclockwise spin coming in, you really need to get it flat and throw it directly at the basket. That strong right to left is going to make it hard for it to fade.
It's almost like Nathan's seen a shot or two that spins that direction. So Germ, edge of circle, looking up at the basket into a headwind now. And Nath Hecker.
Yeah, same thing, just hanging it out left. And doesn't, the wind doesn't allow it to come back. He will have an open putt, though. Pretty scary.
And Matteo, just being disciplined, will settle for a drop in 4.
Yeah, smoothie upshot right there. Don't want to deal with that wind. It looks like the wind's starting to die down some at this point. Still a bit gusty, but the later on in the day it did start to die down. Like you said, there was a rain delay, so this card teed off in the 5 o'clock hour, I believe.
Yeah, the possibility of dark creeping in if there's slow play also. We'll keep an eye on that in the back 9. And Koling into the headwind, comes up just short, and a rude roll.
Yeah, can't come up short on a green like this. You've either got to make it or miss that basket completely.
And Koling, for the second hole in a row, not going to get up and down from circle 2.
And that didn't really look like nerves. That just looked like awkward stance and wind right there. The wind just immediately lifted it out of his hand. And not a bogey that he wants to take. But nice comeback putt.
So Heimburg and Orum actually going to gain strokes on their card mates with their pars. Pretty unusual on a birdie track like this.
Yeah, pretty rough start as far as what you expect to see here on Chase Card today. Besides Matty O, 2 through 3, don't want to see all these bogeys early.
My favorite flavor of Double G Craft Jerky, easy choice, the teriyaki. I love my sweet and I love my salty food. It's a great combination of both.
Got to go for the hot boom sauce to give you that extra kick.
Probably going to surprise a lot of you guys. My favorite flavor is actually the Sexy Sweet and Spicy. I find it to be one of the best jerkies I've ever had.
The orbit felon, this thing has been amazing. The plastic, the flight, everything is just amazing. You can really manipulate the angles on this thing. It's a felon, but it does things that felons really aren't supposed to do, and that's why I love it.
Moving into hole 4, great par 4, 722 feet. Got a pretty specific landing zone, which is right here. You land right there. Got about 300 feet left into this pin. There's a bit of a slope right in front of the basket where if you don't get enough height on it, you can come up a lot shorter than you feel like you will. The wood line, that white tree that Mattio's heading towards, is about 480 feet away. And there is OB left. But Matty's going to check up short. Being in that wood line helps a lot in picking out some of those gaps.
Yeah, he's left of the ideal spot, but he's pushed close enough that he should find some way across in 2. Pretty strong left to right. Calvin Heimburg going to fight that with some stability on the end, and in a honey spot now, looking straight at it.
Yeah, one of the better driven righty backhands I've seen on this tee this year.
Hecker kind of gets some nose up on this, but the late fade puts him in reasonable position. Probably a forehand from there.
And I said on the last hole that the wind seemed to be dying down a bit, but the reeds in the background are saying otherwise. Still a bit gusty out here.
Koling gets bogged down. We'll throw through the primary gap with some flex on it. And very well done to about 22 feet.
Well, I was standing right around here. It felt like you had that tail left to right wind walking up to this point, and then once you got here, you could feel a swirl. This gap, you could feel a headwind coming at you through the gap. Felt like it was coming a little right to left at the basket, so hard to tell exactly what you're supposed to do here. Wow. I'm a bit surprised by that.
He must have been stacked up to where there really wasn't a good gap he felt he could get across, and I mean, taking a 4 isn't bad. Taking a 5 or a 6 can come into play pretty quick on hole 4. Heimburg into circle 1.
And not that that was a bad shot, but that was kind of what I was talking about with the wind. It feels like left to right, where he most likely expected that to get packed down and not move left at all. But he did end up moving left, and is going to have a bit of a tester putt.
Hecker's upshot had gotten picked up. And then hips just kind of rotated on him, and he pulls it right. Koling with the quick reset.
Trying to get back on track. Nice birdie, back to even. Most likely going to be looking to get a par at some point this round. Rather take those bogeys out of there.
It's so stressful if all you do is give your birdies back immediately. Heimburg finally back to even.
Nath Hecker looking to stay at even here as well.
And does so. He's thrown the disc really well so far. Look to see his putting come around. Especially when we get into the woods, the effect of the wind is going to dampen considerably. And Matteo, second hole in a row, lays up, rewarded for it with the par. Hole 5, 432 feet, a par 3. There's OB water down the entire left side, and the green and fairway both slope down from right to left. Basket's elevated and playing with a little bit of left to right headwind today. I expect to see overstable backhands thrown with some flex. Another lame play up the hill for Heimburg.
Yeah, is that the same disc? I thought he wasn't going to throw that
I think he went Draco today. But similar effect, probably mandatory layup territory.
Yeah, with that extra wind today. Oh boy. This is a bit errant here from Germ, and it is going to find that OB cart path right that you really don't see coming to play too often.
I even neglected to mention it in the hole preview because it's so rarely found. The water's certainly intimidating, however. Matteo, again, probably mandatory layup, similar to what he had done in round 1.
What I was going to say, with that extra wind today, this hole played as the hardest hole on the course. Very difficult to get that birdie. And another thing that you don't see happen very often is hitting the early branch on this one.
I'm very impressed with Isaac, our T-cam operator, following where the disc was going to go, not following the disc. Pretty good approach by Hecker. Rare to see discs land clean on the bottom side. He'll be looking up at the basket for his 3.
Germ has some good touch there, misses that tree. Can be scary entering this green on a hyzer like that. You'd really like your disc to land flat like this to make sure it doesn't have a chance to roll at all. As you stated, mandatory layup zone. Gonna card his 3rd par, Nath Hecker, for a pretty nervous par putt right here. Uphill, left to right headwind.
And a good stick, just enough drop on the end of that. And if you go back and look at Matteo and Calvin doing their layups, there was nothing casual about them. They were deliberately trying to put the disc on the high side and land it flat. Every stroke counts, and pay attention to all of them.
Yeah, I joke around with most of my U-disc guys. If you're not sure if I'm in the bullseye or not, I'm not. But today's one of those days you want to be in that bullseye with all that extra wind. Hole 6, 555-foot par 4. This big tree we're coming to right now, you'd like to be right or left of. Right around there's a pretty good spot to get off of the tee. Anything more than that's extra credit. Makes it pretty easy to get onto this green. But again, just some OB that can kind of annoy you along the way.
Getting it inbounds on the tee shot, very critical. Kind of leaves you in decision zone whether you want to try to attack onto this pretty skinny turf green.
We saw this play yesterday with the backhand. Such a technical shot, a much harder one, and that could have been tracking for that OB up there by the pin if it didn't catch that tree. Take another look at this absolute smash of a drive.
Rides the crosswind perfectly and has plenty of speed as it gets into the landing zone.
Wow.
Nath Hecker just going to try to overpower a forehand out to the left side, but this is popped up. Oh no, it's got some drift on it.
Get in front of those branches.
Does get the green flag. However, that's not a great lane, in my opinion.
Yeah, very punchy, I'll say, to try to get to the green from there. Gonna have to just throw at something and hope you get through it.
Koling with a good forehand, kind of neighbors with Heimburg.
It's that zone where you kind of want to lay up short of this creek, but it's very difficult to get close to it. Nath Hecker does a good job right here. He's going to put himself just outside circle one. Very well executed shot.
Yeah, I think that's a very good golf decision. Trust that you can make your 40-footers now and again. And Heimburg tries to get aggressive. He will now putt from a similar spot for his 4.
Hit something hard.
Jerem having to stretch out. An early release caused by that stretch out. Should have a pretty routine pitch up for par from there. Matty O, very routine here. Trying to give it that eagle bid. Should have a nice easy birdie.
Koling to the heavens. One little flag tag. And that's frustrating to do, not getting up and down from inside of 125 or so.
Yeah, really, wherever you are on this hole, it's frustrating to not birdie it.
Yeah, 555 downhill is, we'd say that's a pretty cake distance for all of MPO. Heimburg is able to card the par.
Along with 44% of the field. 41%, not far behind, carding the birdie on this one.
And Hecker, another good comeback putt.
Matty O looking for his 3rd birdie after getting 1 and 2 to start his round.
And clean and in. And there's that first par for Jeremy Koling, finally. Hole 7, a par 4, 484 feet, but don't let that short distance fool you. Got to hit this gap, clear the out of bounds, and then move steeply uphill to the right. Good shots leave you with a pretty narrow gap, maybe 200, 250 feet away.
Yeah, that 200 or 250 still plays a lot longer, though, with how steep this upslope is, and difficult to get in the ideal position. Matty O down there in bounds. He might have a line from there.
Yeah, he'll be able to advance. Hard to say until we see that shot. Heimburg had missed this in day 1. This time, good correction. Kind of throws that forehand at about 60%, it seemed like.
Yeah, you really don't want to push too far forward. That root that he caught, if he could have been just above that, that would have put him in the ideal spot. This is pushing forward a little bit. That's technically past the gap that you want to be in, but those 3 trees are a decent spot where you can have some type of flex forehand up there.
And Koling barely inside, but has to go to the drop zone, throwing 3.
Yeah, probably playing that 350 range from here. Pretty difficult shot. Wow.
Just an outrageously good flip up.
That's the way to do it. I think that's an even more difficult, like, forehand shot than it is the righty backhand shot, but executed so nicely there.
Seemed like Matt Orum was not really attacking for the 3, willing to just move his way up the fairway.
Overcooking that pizza, but he'll be able to tap it in anyway. Gonna get himself back under par, it looks like.
And Hecker elects to go with the backhand, which does run up the hill decently into mid C1. And Orum's third, just trying to nose up forehand.
And Germ, what would be a great par save from the drop zone and able to connect on it. That can be a round starter right there.
Yeah, finally some positive momentum.
Although it was a par, it's not one that you really expect to get after going OB off of the tee. Nath Hecker going to card the birdie as well, move himself under par. This hole averaging right at par, even for 26% of the field taking a birdie, 23% bogey or above, so a couple double bogeys mixed in. Moves us into hole 8, our par 4.5, 576 feet. Kind of a neutral disc on an Anheuser with a forehand around this corner is going to be the ideal play. Let it fade just a little bit, then that puts you in a 300 range, if even that far, to try to hit another tight gap.
Heimburg going with a pretty overstable disc and doesn't pull it over hardly at all. So now gonna have to throw 2 from the woods. Hecker, you see how much more drift that has as the understable option.
Yeah, pretty good line on that. I think the speed of the disc really made it turn over too much. If he had thrown something a bit slower, had a chance for that one to pan out. This one has more height on it, so it does come out. Looks like he's going to have some type of gap to get up and down, but eagle out of play now.
And Koling also had pushed that 2 straight, but taps down to the left. Much preferable. I think in your planning, all of these guys probably had to tell themselves there's more room out to the left than I think, but threw too far to the right. Orum flat through the second gap, and he's probably around 160 feet. Chance to get up and down for the bird still.
Nice kick for that to get back to the right a little bit. He was heading left.
Left or right?
Germ also going to be over there on that left side, a bit overturned on that forehand. Nate pinched off, but what a gap right here. Oh my goodness.
Huge. Just up to 15 feet. Hecker's going to be putting for eagle.
Yeah, and he had to go in between those 2 trees. Definitely had to put some funny angles on that one. Calvin a bit inside, but sneaks through those last 2. And birdie for him.
Yeah, quite a scramble given where he started.
Look at this touch shot.
From his shoulder.
Man, that's a fun shot to watch. He made it. I don't know if you guys think it looked fun, but that was a very difficult, touchy shot that Matty O just threw. Love to watch it. Germ, he always does that. So he's going to do that also. Got 1 eagle look and 3 birdie looks here.
And no backhands.
And no backhands, yeah. In for the birdie. Quick to 3 under par. There you have it. Our star frame. We got 5 points on that one.
All right, we found his semantic choice there. Hole 9 playing downhill at 258 feet. It's a gap shot that you'd like to drift a little bit to the right. Turnover backhand as well as forehand both play. I think the backhand spin is a little more natural to get it to land softly rather than skipping off to the right.
And hole 8 was again the easiest with 12 birdies, or excuse me, 12 eagles.
Catching the cedars just short is Nath Hecker. He'll be inside C1.
It was a bit early for Calvin, but he sneaks just past it. He's going to be inside circle 1 with a fairly simple putt there.
Orum is playing the forehand, dodges just in front of everything on the left side. Nearly rings up the pole. Trickles to about 26, 27 feet.
Imagine this is that mortar out of Germ here. And it looks to be executed nicely. He's going to check up the inside circle 1. Matty O here about 30 feet farthest out. 4 pretty good drives.
This hole can be so easy. It can also be so hard if you don't get that first gap. Good start for Matty O.
We both have a little experience from that one today, huh?
I don't want to talk about it. Heimburg looked real sloppy to start. Now here he is.
Gobble, gobble.
Yeah, 3 down in a hurry and about to make a charge on the back.
Nath Hecker to back up that eagle. 4 down in the last 3 holes to finish out his front 9 at 4 down. What a push. And Jeremy Koling trying to get back to under par again. Bit of a rough start, but still going to be under par to start out his front 9. We've got some starry diamonds to finish out this coverage. Thank you guys for joining us out here for this front 9 coverage of the second round at Idlewild. Lots of colors on here.
Yeah, you see Nath Hecker and Matty O moving up into a tie for 3rd place with their good work, trying to continue moving up that leaderboard. A lot of good action out there. Maybe a little slower scoring conditions than on Friday, but halfway home in the Idlewild tournament.
Yeah, excited to watch these guys attack this back 9 as well. Wind down, back in the woods. Gonna be fun to watch. Make sure you guys tune in to Gatekeeper Media, like and subscribe to join us out here. For Andrew Fish, I'm Nathan Queen. We'll see you guys out there.